I have no shame in saying that. And you are, to me, like, you know you're a badass. I know you're a badass, but I think you're like one of the most humblest, genuine people I've ever, like, I know. I still have a lot to learn from her, get to know her, but if you could give her a round of applause, Jena Turner, our next speaker.
All right, it's hard being the girl right after lunch. I hope y'all drank.
I know I did.
If not, let's start. Okay, let's see what I can teach you about a changing market. So I am going ahead of two absolute powerhouse old dudes next, Sunit and John Cheplack. And so you probably are thinking, what can that young, cute girl tell us about changing markets? I'm not that young, and I've been doing this for a long time. I actually sold my first home when I was 6 years old in 1992. My parents still haven't paid me a commission for that house. But I actually, back then, people drove by signs and called numbers and booked appointments to see houses. And I was standing in my front yard and no one was watching me, which was like the 90s, okay? And I invited these strangers into my parents' house. And my mom was in the kitchen and I walked in with a family of 6, 4 kids, 2 adults. And I was like, hey, these people want to buy our house. We're trying to move to the country. They want to see it right now. And my mom's like, your dad's in his boxers. And this is really weird, Jena. But those people did not buy the house. Their cousins did. They actually used our home phone, called their cousins. Their cousins came over and saw the house. And that's how we sold my first childhood home. So I would say I've been doing sales for a little bit. I changed career paths for a second. I wanted to own a dry cleaners for a while because you could press buttons. I owned a dance studio when I was 18. I'm kind of short and chubby. I should not be a professional ballerina. So I got out of that market and then said, like, what terrible career will take me back? And it was this. So this is where I went back to. I'm like, I dropped out of college, I barely graduated high school. My parents were really pissed. What was I originally good at? And apparently this is all I could sell for. So I love to make fun of realtors. I love to make fun of our industry a little bit. If you've ever seen me on stage before, I'm sorry, you're here again. But I really like making fun of what we do because we think it's super serious, and you have sat in a room with people before who have told you, like, I am such a big deal. Let me tell you what a big deal I am. I'm the #1 realtor in Sacramento, in California. Denise, what is it? Which one is it? All of California or something? Veronica, my friend, she's like the #1 realtor in the world for our company that we work for. And so realtors love to tell you how great we are. We know that. In this room, we're a little bit more humble, right? Because we all know that each other is as great as the next one. But I'm going to go through a little bit about what makes, I think, us unique and what we do, and what has prepared me for this changing market. I live in Houston, and we've actually had a really good market for the 12 years I've been in real estate. So when I first got in, I was a bartender when the recession happened. That is not recession-proof, by the way. People still drank, they stopped tipping, they were just alcoholics. And then I was becoming an alcoholic, so I was like, I gotta get a different career. I heard all these people are leaving the real estate industry. Maybe it's a perfect time for me to jump in. So I did. And I remembered a lady named Deborah at my first brokerage told me, what kind of idiot would get their license right now? This is awful. What we're dealing with is awful. And so I did not sell a house for 18 months. The first house I sold was to my ex-fiance when we broke up, and that was depressing. but financially rewarding. So I learned to live with that. So my first 18 months, I did a lot of leasing. The average commission we made, the girl on my right, she started with me back then because I was so busy leasing. I needed an assistant, obviously, because I'm bossy and I like to delegate. But our average commission back then was about $150, and we did about 15 rentals a week. We worked probably 150 hours a week to make all of $150 a pop. It was super great. It was a great time. So now I have 5 staff members. Yep, I fired some people. I fired my children's godfather. He's up there. Sorry, Tyler. I have 38 team members, and I have 4 virtual assistants through Sphere Rocket. They're here. You should use them. I will tell you later how I use them to scare these other people who work for me daily. Like, I will replace you with someone from the Philippines right now.
Oh my God.
And they always say, yes, ma'am, and are so friendly to me. So don't come in here with any attitude. So that's what I do. The average agent at Found, my company is Found Realty Group. I had a brokerage for 3.5 years. I just quit that, and that was good for me, and moved over to that one brokerage that people talk about. I'm just skipping over that. Our average agent, when I got this stat from my team, I was shocked that the average agent at Found closes their first deal within 37 days. That's actually after a 3-week onboarding period, but their first 37 days of being turned leads will actually get to the closing table, unless they suck. And they brought down our average. Our average would be better if those people were English. We've sold 350 homes so far this year, which is more than we sold last year. And we'll probably do 425 transactions. And most of my agents are licensed under 2 years. So I have a lot of newbies. I do drink at night. Because they are stressful to me. I've been leading up to this moment for a long time. It should say follow-up boss on here. I'm going to work on that, I promise. These are some of the things that we do to use in our business. I'm going to come back to this because there's a reason for this slide later when I talk about our finances. And so we sell a lot of homes. Actually, 87% of our business is Sphere or referral business. And I am really proud of that. I have actually never bought a lead from Zillow, or any of the big names. And we actually just started buying leads about a year ago. And it's stressful, actually. I really like just being nice to the people who like us and having them send us business. And if you are a team leader, you may be saying, well, when I am hiring agents to come to my team, all they want to know is what leads we provide. We actually coach our agents to work their sphere of influence, network, and have conversations that convert first and foremost, and any leads that we provide is a gasoline that we throw on the fire that they've already created. So our agents have no cap. Some of our agents have paid upwards of $80,000 into our team this year so far. How do you keep agents that pay you $100,000 a year and could have their own business if they are not being fed leads? If you're an agent, you're like, man, your people are crazy. I would never pay you that much money. But I'm funny, so they pay for that mostly. And I get people that don't have a lot of friends, and so they have to hang out with me, and I'm the best they have. I'm done now, Grant. I hope you all have learned something. Okay, so this is what I do to make money. Now, I don't really sell houses. And I was actually having a great conversation at dinner last night with that old guy, Sneak, that's next, who was telling me why is it a badge of honor to be done selling houses? In some ways, it's been good for me. I have a 4 and a 6-year-old. I'm a single mom. And so now I'm forced to see my kids on the weekends. So that's fun. I'm thinking about getting back into production. So I don't have to do that anymore. That was fun though for a year. So now I do things like this. I own a title company. And what else do I do? I'm a real estate investor. Sometimes I'm really bad at that. I go off budget. I work for EXP. I work for John Cheplack as one of his coaches. And most recently, I started enabling our agents and our partners to make money through mortgage as well. So those are all the ways I make money. What?
Your speaking website's amazing. How'd you go with that name?
Jena speak.
Oh wait, was that you? It was you. I was like, wait a second, I think it was you. Man, you can get a lot of good ideas in these rooms. And then I just copied it off of Veronica's, the whole format. I told my virtual assistant from Sphere Rocket, just copy everything that they're doing. And they said, do I need to make it look different? And I was like, no, they'll never notice. And I forgot, I'm on stage talking about it in front of them, so I'm caught. I'll have my attorney we'll talk. Okay. So this diagram was used most recently in my divorce. That was fun. I was like, I am broke, no money whatsoever. And they're like, well, I see 7 streams of income there. But now I'm really back to the beginning. So I'm selling houses. If you would like to send me any buyers or sellers in Houston, I'll do leasing. I'll do pretty much whatever you want. What kind of services do we cover for our agents to add value? This is the cutesy stuff. I once got accused. It was actually at a very expensive conference. There was a guy that came up to me and he said, he's in our coaching group with us. He said to me, like, you look like a kindergarten teacher. What could you possibly offer of value on stage? And I'm like, well, I'm going to tell you a lot about pop buys, and you're going to really enjoy giving, themed Christmas gifts, Thanksgiving gifts. And he's like, that's the worst shit I've ever heard. But when I got on stage and I dove into it a little bit more, he was a little bit appreciative. And now I send him a quarterly pop buy that he thinks is very funny, and he rips off and duplicates in his much more successful business than I do. So we have a 25-step post-closing template that we use for every closing. I kind of tried to do that, and I got to like 7 steps for many years. Now we actually follow through with 25 interactions post-closing, which I think as realtors, we drop the ball on, right? So I get really annoyed, no offense, because you all do this, the sign at the title company, and it's like, I'm the best realtor ever. I just made money. Look at me on Facebook. And I was like, I wonder if they ever follow up with that client. And so what we do really well is at the bottom one, orphan client adoption. We will take your client post-closing after you do that cute picture with them all day, every day. I look like a kindergarten teacher, but I'm cutthroat.
That's right. Yes. That's right.
They don't even see it coming. Ruthless.
Ninja.
So we do all sorts of the cute things. Veronica's slides look so good. I was like, man, I need all that shit because we do a lot of the same things, but her slides looked a lot better on what she actually does. If you follow me on social media, I give it all away. I put it all on there, every cute thing that we do. Do you guys know what tamales are?
Yes.
Okay. We actually deliver over 500 dozens of tamales hot to people's front doors every Christmas. Which, if you're Mexican or from Texas, and like Mexicans a lot. That's a big deal. If somebody delivers hot tamales to your door, you're either marrying them, sleeping with them, or sending them all your referrals for the rest of your life. So I haven't married that many people, so just I'm getting your referrals, mostly. We do an annual company gift box for closing. The best thing that we've done in the last 18 months is we looked at our transaction management system, all the tabs and to-dos, right? We had everything covered from a compliance standpoint, from the standpoint of us running a business where I didn't continuously get sued, but we did not have the opportunities in there where we could get referrals out of it. So all of my staff and all of my agents are trained on one thing over and over and over again every day, and it's the Chick-fil-A method, right? Which I don't even remember what they say now, but this is what we say. Anytime that a client thanks us for doing anything, thanks a transaction coordinator, thanks an ISA for doing something, thanks us for a recommendation, we say, who do you know that we can help buy or sell? Thank you for noticing that we did good work. Who do you know that is going to buy or sell? That has actually tripled our amount of inbound referrals when I trained my staff and my agents to have that language. So, and I'm serious about it. If I actually hear them in the office say like, oh, you're welcome, and they don't say that, I kick them in the shin. Right then and there, I just walk up to them, like, kick them hard. They're independent contractors, and there's 46,000 realtors in Houston. So if they don't like it, they can go somewhere else. So we trained all of our people to ask for the business that we needed. And that is the best investment I've ever made. Kicking people in the shin has worked out really well for us. Every client, every time, we are experts. You may live in a different state where property taxes aren't such a big deal, but where I live, they're a really big deal. We are experts in fighting our clients' property taxes for them, saving them. Our biggest client, we actually saved probably like $7,000 a month in property taxes, what they were paying into the government. That's my favorite thing, sticking it to the man. I don't get paid enough for how much we have to protest and fight, but all of my agents are trained on how to do that. We send people their closing statement for filing taxes. We do those to those orphan clients because their people aren't going to remember to do it. And then we do all the other fun things. Veronica said, I want them to see me in my sleep. My quote on here said, they see me so much they can't get rid of me ever. I don't stress about losing a client once. I used to really stress about that. Like if I saw that somebody like bought a house without me, I just go in for the kill because I'll get them on the next one. Or I'll get their kids or their grandkids or whoever I can convince to like me that day. Agent standards. We hold a pretty high standard for our agents. Aren't they cute? I only hire models. I'm just kidding. No, there's some ugly people that work there. But they sell. Good God, they sell. I can say all this in front of my team. They've heard me say this a million times. They're okay. They're safe. Our agents have to obtain a review for every closing. And if they cannot obtain a review from their client, I have told them that there was somebody in their life at one time that loved them that has to give them a review. If they do not get a review, they are kicked off of our leads, and then they have to get 5 reviews to get back on. We have somebody checking that weekly. Our goal, and it doesn't happen every time, but our goal is 2 referrals from every current client. Because the way our systems are set up, we really do have a really good success rate with that by the time they get to closing, we've already received 2 referrals. They get points based on that, and those points are how we distribute leads. Our average sales price is about $500,000, and our average inbound lead is about $700,000. So my agents are allowed to take listings in their own name. They want our leads real bad because we're not sending them the tough stuff, so they kind of do this stuff. I make them do community or charity work quarterly, not necessarily for the PR of it, but sometimes you gotta humble the shit out of these agents. And sometimes they need to be reminded how lucky they have it. So really it's for my own mental health and their mental health. And then they have to help us finish up our transaction coordinators handle most of the follow-up plan for every closing, but they have a certain amount of calls and things that they have to do themselves. And then they have to do 30 dials a week. I don't care if they call Pizza Hut, I don't care if they call their grandma, but they have to account for 30 dials a week. Because agents who have better conversations convert. Delegate and pivot like a pro. So I always am hiring. I am literally always hiring. I don't find that many people I like these days, but I try a lot. So we are always hiring staff and agents to where we want to go. We're bringing in about 5 agents a month. We're also exiting about 3 because I have strict standards. We exit about 3 a month as well. Process for every action. We are fanatics about a system. If I do it once, I'll never do it again until the system is done. We will stop in the middle of what we're doing and saying, this is something that's repeatable. When can my staff gather and when can we make a process for this so we don't ever have to mastermind about it again? I admit failure a lot. If you know me personally, you know that my life is awful.
Jena, please.
I'm just kidding. But it is kind of funny. I definitely deserve a television crew to follow me around a little bit. Keith Pike has mentioned how many bad things can happen to one person over and over again. It's me. But I do something really well, and I admit failure. I will say, guys, I dropped the ball on this. Guys, I haven't given you what you needed. And we pivot really quickly when we know that something isn't working or that I have dropped the ball on something. I think as real estate leaders, we often say, like, I'm so great, I'm the leader. No one gave us a training book for this. I literally sucked at every other job I had before this. Why would I not suck at this job a little bit sometimes? So we do that really well, and our culture is we're just flexible. Every single one of my staff is known to say, like, yeah, I know that's what Jena said yesterday, but today she came in and said that we do something else now. And it gets a little frustrating, but if you have the right tribe around you, they will pivot where you need to go and trust that there's a method to our madness a little bit. These are my biggest lessons in a changing market and things that we've done really well over and over again as life has changed. The biggest lesson, I need that tattooed somewhere, for sure. Get lean. So you know that tech stack I showed in the beginning of all the people that we pay money to? We change that all the time. That commitment to spending money as a real estate professional has to be something that holds a lot of value to you and your business. And it has to be something that you can admit when you are spending money in the wrong place. I actually asked Grant yesterday if I could talk, but he didn't see me. I asked him by like going like this and waving and doing jumping jacks. He didn't see me. One of the things I really like about being a Witly client is that I failed Grant for 3 months as his client. I paid him a couple $1,000s a month, and I never hopped on the Zooms I was supposed to, and I was a really bad student, and I didn't do any of the things I wanted to do. Grant earned 150% of my respect when he said, we're gonna stop charging you because you are not participating in this. As a vendor, as people who have paid money to real estate professionals, you probably know that not many vendors call you and say they will not charge your credit card anymore until you participate. But I became a lifelong fan of Witly at that point, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do a better job, Grant. And I've done it for like 3 weeks. I've been on Zooms for 3 weeks and we're killing it. Right? Okay. Just tell me I'm good. I just don't want you to be disappointed in me. I would happily pay you $2,000 a month if you would just leave me alone. Honestly. So get lean, right? There's areas of your business that in a changing market, you have to admit that you're not putting the effort towards what somebody else needs you to do for it to be profitable. And you need to make sure that you're as lean as you can going into this. Don't wait until it's too late and try to cancel all at once. Follow Up Boss is going to sponsor me. They're going to get on my list. Just kidding. Jokes. Please don't kick me after this. Uh-oh, he's back. No, he threw me a t-shirt and I was supposed to like rip open my shirt and be wearing a Follow Up Boss, but they hadn't given me enough money to rip open the shirt to do that yet. So I'm still in negotiations. I will see y'all maybe this afternoon wearing a Follow Up Boss shirt. Ancillary business for your inner circle to win. This has been huge for me and something that has been mind-blowing over the last 18 months. When we started having agents who were all of a sudden making $300,000 plus themselves, I was like, how the hell am I going to keep these people on my team? Because if they're doing that well on their own, what value are they getting from us? And they loved me, but they don't love me like $80,000 a year worth. Love me, unfortunately. And so we have added in ancillary businesses for all of our agents. And our agents are recruiting top agents to our team because they know that I keep creating these opportunities for them to win. So a few of my top agents will be opening up their own title companies in the next 18 months that I've given them and that we share profit on. Because I have the licensing for a 35-mile radius of my office, and in Houston that goes a long way. So we are going to keep some of these top agents because of the opportunities that we're providing them. We also have provided all of our agents the ability to get their loan officer's license and now make income referring their own deals to our designated USA Mortgage loan officer, and then also build a revenue share opportunity by recruiting agents from any brokerage into the model and referring to our lender partners. That has been huge. That is what is going to keep me recruiting really the top 1% of agents in our market. The number one Berkshire Hathaway agent in my market just joined my team.
That's right. Let's go.
I have 3 of the top 3 Intero agents who are on my team. Intero is also a Berkshire Hathaway company, but they're like cousins and not like the same thing. Sorry, I just broke that down for y'all real quick. Number 1 Caldwell Banker agent in our market joining our team. So there's these huge names that are coming to us because they're seeing that we're providing an opportunity which is bigger than just selling houses, right? I want our agents to build wealth. My biggest fear now is that they're building wealth in other ways and I will actually not have anyone to sell houses soon. They're all retired now. I'm gonna have to go back into selling houses because they are doing too well. I am an opportunity seeker. My job and what I tell people in my profession is now is that I am a personal development company and I just seek opportunities for the people in my circle. So I think as the market changes, especially if you're in a leadership position, you need to be looking at every opportunity that could provide growth for your team in whatever corner of the world you find it. I never thought that I would not just be a girl that sold houses and be a girl that did all these different things. And some of these things I like a lot better than selling houses, actually. Like spending my day with you all and drinking later with you guys here. I had to abbreviate this, but I recently taught several of my friends in this group, and the Sphere Rocket guy, Justin, if he's back there, he told me I accidentally taught his staff this, and now they've been telling it. What's that? FAFO. So I live by one policy, and that policy is FAFO, and it's fuck around and find out.
She did it.
Sorry, Grant.
She said, fuck around and find out.
right about the time that I hired John Cheplack, he made me lose 85 pounds, like he told me I had to. I did. Then he was like, I think your life's kind of a mess. Maybe you should get a divorce. I did. Then my sister sued me. That was fun. Did that.
Oh, man.
And then my sister sued me with the title company that I sent all my business to. And that was a moment where I snapped, right? Like there was a lot of stuff going on. I hadn't eaten a carb in a minute. And I was I was in an emotional, not a great place. And that is where FAFO came about. I called the title company rep that I had sent all my business to for the last 7 years. And then I called another friend and I was like, how much money do they actually earn off of me every year? And I found out that my title company earned $550,000 off of us every year, and I've been sending the same person business for 10 years. And that's when that statement was born. Was that I said, well, I'm gonna just buy a title company then, obviously, and now I won't be sending any more business your way. And I really had to learn how to get super tough, super quick. I wrote my sister and brother-in-law a check for $20,000. I asked them to not tell our parents that they were suing me because my parents were 75 and they would be heartbroken. And that was the point in the business where I was like, this shit is getting really difficult. And they say when you're on the way to the top that it really starts coming from all sides here. With all that, I learned, one, I still really like my sister. She's great at parties, and I like drinking wine with her, so we're fine. With all that, I learned that you have to be in charge of your business like your own sister would come after it and take it from you.
Wow.
It was a very difficult time. I was also evicting my husband and my mother-in-law that lived in my house for free. I was doing a lot of things at that time. I used to look younger. I'm actually, I'm only 18. I look like I'm 8. I'm just kidding. So that mindset really changed the way I did business. It went, I was a really successful real estate agent with a small team. I had 8 people on my team at that time. If you're getting kicked, you normally tend to push people away and say, like, I'm gonna do this on my own. I leaned into bringing as many people into my world as possible to create opportunities for those around me. And I wanted to see as many people at the table that weren't gonna sue me and that actually liked me win. And so we built a really big table right after all that happened. Now, I still you remember how I told you in the very beginning, I told my staff about the virtual assistants thing? I do say to them a lot, fuck around and find out. I'll replace you with a person from Sphere Rocket. But they know I'm mostly kidding because they actually have to like deliver my groceries and help me raise my children and do all sorts of in-person things that I can't outsource. We have this written in our office, apply enough pressure to make it weird. As we've pivoted over the last 18 months and our business has tripled, maybe quadrupled now, we have really held each other accountable to making applied pressure a normal part of our business. If you are working with somebody and they tell you it's okay all the time, it's okay you didn't make the calls. Honey, it's okay that you didn't want to work this weekend and do an open house. It's okay that you're not going to do any of the shit that you say you're going to do when you come home from this conference. You need to fire those people and get around people who apply pressure to you. That's the only way you're going to survive what we're going into. And those people are the people that you need to thank at the end of it when you come out of it and 30% of our real estate industry has disappeared.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, I agree.
So, apply enough pressure to make it weird. We don't have an HR department, but honestly, we really need one at Found Realty Group because people use this in weird ways there, like strange hugging, and I'm not really a hugger. They just come up and apply pressure to me, and it's uncomfortable for all of us. But make sure that you guys are surrounding yourselves with people who are gonna apply that amount of pressure. If you are on a team and your team leader says, hey, you need to do these things, you gotta do them. Listen to somebody who's been in that before. If somebody, I have not worked through 2008. I did not work through 2008, but I listened to a lot of people who did. And I will listen to those war stories and say, that'll never happen to me because I learned something from one person who knew how to do it better at the time. Mm-hmm. I hope that you guys aren't depressed and alcoholics after this presentation. But mostly, Grant looks uncomfortable. It's okay, Grant. We're gonna be fine. Sign up for Witly.
Yes.
I hope that you guys can see the areas of your business where you need to be applying more pressure. I hope you can look for opportunities to create more business or revenue streams for you. I hope that you are willing to rent out a $600 Section 8 apartment that pays $100 a month. If shit gets bad, that's what we're doing, okay? I hope that you can pivot and delegate and take something that you've learned from the last 2 days of great speakers and people who are so much smarter and don't say fuck around and find out on stage like I do, and apply something to your business that counts.
Huge round of applause for Jena.
Let's go.
Now, does anybody have any questions for Jena or want to continue the comedy, whichever you prefer? But Jena's been absolutely amazing. Would love to have any questions. I got a mic. Would gladly pass it around if anybody has any questions. A couple hands going up. All right, 1 second. I'm gonna go over here. Joe first, then Pat.
Oh God, Joe, I'm nervous.
After that, you ain't got nothing to be nervous about. You're done for the day in terms of being nervous. But with that being said, question for you, like one of the big running things that I've been seeing with you, with Veronica, after switching to the thing, right, to the one, saw that what I did over there? The one thing? Yeah. So with that, how are you leveraging, you know, to where you're taking, like you're trimming out the fat, but at the same time, like you're still pushing forward? Are you splitting your team to where there are different like jobs within them that, you know, you have somebody who's responsible for freeing up those three people's future every month? Or, you know, are you, like, how do you split that all up? Especially as like just switching over to, you know, the one thing.
We, so my first assistant, she's had like every job with me. How many times, if you guys know us well, she's probably watching this. I literally say every other week I'm gonna fire her. It's not true, I can't. She's super faithful and she knows too much. So, 10 years goes a long way. That lasts longer than my marriage. So, she moved over to just agent development and agent attraction for that one thing that we work for. So she moved there, and I hired a much better operations director, and she'll admit that too, of somebody who's that. I think the one thing that we do really well is that I let people kind of pick their career paths within our company. And just because somebody has hit like their growth point in whatever job I hired them for, we just keep growing. And now there are 7 different businesses, and so I have people who work for me who now are licensed escrow officers at my title company, and they're like, Jena only pops in here on closing day. We want to work there, so we don't have to see her. And so there's a growth trajectory for every person in our organization. And even agents have their own, they can be whatever they want to be. I think that, and part of the reason why I left my brokerage, which you didn't ask, but I'm going to tell you, is that we hold our agents to saying like, hey, we want you to sell so many houses, and we want you to do that over and over again, year after year, and keep paying in money to us. But if we don't challenge them to do something else or do something bigger than just selling 35 houses, okay, next year we want you to sell 40 houses, next year, okay, 45 houses, like when does it stop for them? So I think within your organization, no matter where you are, there has to be some reward system for growth with agents and or staff.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Love that.
Hey, how's it going? So, real quick, could you just explain a little bit more in detail the holiday gifts that you do? Who do you give them to, and then how often? And then closing gift-wise, what special things do you guys do to kind of stand out?
So we have a box that's branded, and I probably should have a picture of it. Good, I'll make a note of that. We have a branded box where we get local items really given to us by vendors that we send out to every closed transaction that year on behalf of the team for the agent. So if we do 425 transactions, we'll send out 425 gift boxes this year. Because we really do that at the beginning of the next year because we do such a big Christmas thing with like free Santa pictures and then tamales. This year will probably be my first year where we do not do the tamale door to door, but I really have liked being able to do that for as long as we can. I just don't know at what point will we sell too many houses where that's difficult. But we really take care of all of those things for our agents. Our agents don't do any heavy lifting in that. And I am, what's like the love languages things, I think I'm a gift person who likes to give gifts. So that kind of trickles down to everyone in my network that's something that we like to do. Does that help you?
Yeah, and then is it just past clients that you're doing the holiday gifts for?
No, if they've also sent us referrals too. So 2 referrals get you tamales. So we have a tally system for that for every referral. We have one of my best clients was one of my first clients. Rented a $600 per month apartment. They like to say they like to say that I showed up in overalls with like one of the things like the straps in the back, but I don't know that that was true. I don't know that I was ever an overall girl. They have referred me about $10 million worth of production every year, annually for 10 years. So they always get tamales, for sure. Unless those referrals stop and then they're...
Hey Jenna, my name is Keith Pike.
Yeah, you're the creator of my website. Yeah,
Jen and I, we're really good friends, and I know I know the answer to the question I'm about to ask, but I think that there are people in the room that need to hear it. The key to growth is through leverage, and I think you've done a really good job with your staff of leveraging yourself out of some things. I got a 2-part question. Like, 1, what are the types of things that you have turned over to staff versus retained for yourself? And 2, like, what's a mistake you made with leverage as well?
Well, so I'm bossy, like I said, and I really actually like to give everything away if possible. I would like to not work. I would like to chill with you guys all day and do this and learn from you. So I think one of the hardest things for agents to understand, when I got in, there was like 5 of us, 5 girls, and we were all like, everybody in our market at that time was like, man, these 5 girls are gonna be badasses. Like, they could just tell. At that time, it was like 2014, we had all like just started taking off, and I'll tell you that when I hit like 8 million in production, they were there too, and then I went to like 16 million, and they like stayed around 9, and then I went to like 20 million annually, and they stayed around like 9.5, and the biggest difference is that I brought other people to the table, right? No. So now at this point, those girls, they are partners, or upcoming partners of mine at that one company, because can't join them, beat them, or can't beat them, join them, right? That's it. Sorry.
That's right.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
right.
Okay. All right. Not weird.
I think the drink's kicking in, Eric.
Yep. Eric made me chug vodka before this. No, I'm just kidding.
She asked.
So, those agents' production is at 12 million annually, and when I stopped selling, I was at 45 million annually by myself with like a TC and one showing agent. And so what I've noticed really took a long time for me to notice, because we're talking about a 6-year span of our careers. Those girls should have been where I was at. They should have been there 6 years ago. But they didn't, because somebody told them they couldn't. I have one friend whose husband sucks. No offense if you're a husband that sucks in this room. But he was always telling her like what she couldn't do for her little real estate business. Her little real estate business, right? Like, and I was like, Jenny, God, I hope she didn't buy a ticket to this all night. No, she knows her husband sucks. We talk about it. Cheaper to keep her. Him, I think. But he would always tell her, like, you can do this for your little business. So you can't hire a full-time assistant. She's making $800,000 a year. Like, bro, she can hire an assistant. Like, he wanted her to be the one to make dinner and stuff, right? Like, she needed to be the one that, like, did the kids stuff. And actually, my ex, I mean, great guy, never expect. He was like, go make money so I can take it all in a divorce later. No, I'm just kidding. He's a great guy. I watched these girls limit themselves because they wouldn't share the responsibility with anyone. I think as women especially, we say like, I want to be a good cook. I want to be the one that's there for the recital. I want to do all these things. I also need to be hot. I need to do, like, you can't do it all. Like, you're going to have to just be average and rich. Like, average looking and rich. It's great. You should do it. The leverage part of it is give away the things that you don't want to win at. I never wanted to be a good cook. The last time I actually cooked, it came out of the oven, and I was like, is this fish raw or is it cooked? Like, is it raw or cooked? Like, I don't actually know. Like, I tried to cut it, and I was like, fuck it. This is not a race I wanted to win. And I literally just went to the trash can and threw it in there. So, like, what race do you want to win? In your business, I made a list of all the things that I was never going to touch again. It's a joke within our business that really the first time I really started stepping into being a good realtor was saying, like, in order to negotiate the way I need to do, in order to market the way I need to do, I'm never touching a real estate sign again or a lockbox. So about 6 years ago, we live in a town with lots of hurricanes. I don't know if you've heard that about Houston, but our signs be like flying all over the place. And I will straight up like walk over one and not touch it and go about my business and do what I need to do, because that's not what I do really well. So I think you have to be arrogant about what you do, and you have to be confident to say, like, this is on my no list, and I just won't touch it.
I have a question.
We got one more question over here.
No, I'm not gonna fuck with her, I promise.
So Jena,
Oh God.
I love you. You did a great job, but you're not from Houston originally, and you're not from money. How'd you start selling houses? They're so expensive.
I bought the cheapest house in the nicest neighborhood, and I acted rich. That's actually
it?
That's pretty much what it was.
So tamales, like there's nothing.
Have you guys heard the song Fancy by Reba McEntire? It was a lot like that with less prostitution.
I'm sorry, man.
Yes!
Everybody gives Jena her. He's running.